Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much for joining us for tonight's edition of HR Mentorship Learning Series. My name remains Oluyemi Adeosun. Tonight, we'll be looking at a topic, AI fluency for HR professionals, artificial intelligence fluency for HR professionals, what you should know on how to drive efficiency, innovation, and of course, safe integration. Our facilitator tonight is Dorothy Akogun. She's the founder and lead consultant, Primer Professional Services Limited. And I would like to welcome her. This is our first time, hopefully not the last time, and hopefully she'll come back in quick succession, back to back, because I'll give her close marking. Dorothy is an HR consultant and career coach with over 12 years of experience in supporting and also designing people systems, programs that for business growth and performance. She is also, she has a powerful blend of human-centered thinking, tech-savvy execution. Dorothy helps HR teams and small businesses, and of course, individuals navigate the intersection of people, processes, and technology. Our work sits at the cutting edge of HR innovation, building AI-powered solutions that solve real-life problems. And our expertise spans a broad spectrum of HR domains, not limited to, but including organizational design, development, total rewards, performance management, learning and development, HR analytics, and HR digital transformation. I'm seeing all the topics I'll bring her back to come and teach. Drawing from a diverse background, ladies and gentlemen, which include oil and gas, engineering services, financial institutions, fintech, medical services, and education, Dorothy brings a wealth of knowledge and insights to our work. I hope I'm pronouncing your first name right. Feel free to correct me, please. She holds a first degree in English education from the prestigious Waterfront University of Lagos. She also has a master's in educational administration from the prestigious University of Lagos, the only waterfront university in Africa. Ladies and gentlemen, she has several other multiple postgraduate diplomas and certification. She loves books, she sabi book. When she's not speaking at events or coaching, Dorothy is building tech-enabled solutions, mentoring young professionals like me, all right, or learning. She's a huge advocate of continuous learning to the point that her husband, guys, she's married. Oh, all right, that her husband jokes that her hobby is listening to webinars. We are part of our family joke. All right, ladies and gentlemen, with pleasure, excitement, I'm happy to present the delectable, the beautiful, the intelligent Dorothy Akogun, as she'll be facilitating for us tonight on artificial intelligence fluency for HR professionals. Take it away, my sister.
Thank you very much, sir. And thank you, everyone, for joining this evening. It's a great pleasure to be here. Thank you, Dr. Uliemi, for this opportunity and for this platform. Yes, so like Dr. Liemi said, I'll be speaking on AI fluency for HR professionals. What should you know to drive efficiency, innovation, and safe integration? Now, before we go right into it, I want to just have a get a pulse of, where we are with using AI. Okay, so how do you feel? Right. I want you to answer this question. Which of these best describes how you currently feel about using AI for your work? Are you just starting? Like maybe you've heard of ChatGPT, but you've not used it much. Maybe you've only used it for job description or something. Or you're exploring. You've played with a few tools, but you're still figuring it out. You can't seem to get the results you want. I want you to put A, B, C, or D in the comments. Okay, I want to see your comments coming in. Or you are comfortable, you use AI tools regularly in your work, or you're a confident builder. Okay, so you're building, you're automating. Which of these best describes you? Okay, I can see a B, I can see a C. Let's keep the responses coming in. Just an A, B, C, or D. Let's keep it coming. Let's keep it coming. Okay, we have two Bs. Okay, yes, let's have more. Okay. Okay, so I think we have more people in between the two. Okay, so you're either exploring right? You can't seem to get the results you want, but you're exploring, or you're comfortable with AI use. That's great to know. That's great to know. Because this would really shape how we go along in our conversation. Yes, so this is what we're going to cover today. We'll talk about what AI fluency is. We'll talk about why it matters. We'll talk about the role of HR in responsible integration of AI, and then the pitfalls that we should avoid. Please feel free to drop your questions in the chat box, or if you have any question, you can raise your hand, but preferably you can just note it so that we'll take everything at the end of this session. Okay, so we're going to start with AI and GPTs. What are they? How do they work? What really is AI? What is GPT? Okay, I want to believe that we know the meaning of AI. I think Dr. Uliemi has mentioned it a few times here. Artificial intelligence. What is GPT? Can anyone try before I go to my next slide? What is GPT? Okay, what is GPT? Anybody? All right. So while you are thinking and trying to get the answer, let me just go right ahead. Okay, we'll come to what GPT is in a few minutes. Now, you're going to permit me to geek out a bit, right? I'm going to talk about AI and then GPTs. Now, AI, artificial intelligence, is the ability of machines to mimic human intelligence. That's why it is artificial. Okay, so it's not human intelligence, but the machines can mimic it. And that means that these machines can do tasks like reasoning, right? They can reason like humans reason. They can learn like we learn. They can solve problems. They can make decisions, right? Okay, so they can do all of these things that humans can do. Okay, so that's artificial intelligence. So when it comes to understanding language, not just the English language, but any other language, understanding this language, recognizing objects, sometimes you take a screenshot and put it in ChatGPT and you're surprised that it is able to actually interpret what you have put in the picture, right? Not text, picture. So it can recognize objects and then make decisions, right? It can reason and solve problem, and then it can learn and adapt. Okay, so that is artificial intelligence, something that mimics the intelligence of humans. It can do the kind of things that humans can do. Okay, then what is a GPT? GPT is a form of AI, right? It will shock you to know that AI has been in existence for a very long time. I don't know how many of us, I think it will probably be millennials, and generations above that. I don't know how many of us remember the Windows assistant or Office assistant that was like an office clip that year, right? That would guide you. I think it was a what's it called? A wizard. Yes, it was called a wizard, right? The Windows wizard that will lead you step by step on what you should do next and things like that. That is AI in action, right? So what is GPT? The meaning of GPT, literal meaning, is generative pre-training transformer. Okay, it is a large language model. I'll explain what that is. It's a large language model that is trained on a massive amount of text from the internet. Right. So while we are in school learning, learning from inventions of men who have moved the world or who have come up with propositions and all of that, we're learning chemistry, we're learning physics, we're learning all of those things, right? A GPT is a large language model that has been trained on all of this information. So all the things, all the textbooks, everything on the internet, articles, a lot, a lot of it, right? It has been trained on all of these things. And then based on the information that it has, right, it then predicts the next best word, right? So based on the information that it has, it's able to detect patterns and context and then predict what should come next based on that. That is how it builds its intelligence. It's just like a baby, right? You can see this picture of a father and a baby. Now, when a baby is born, the baby's brain is called tabula rasa, is a blank slate. And then they are picking things from the environment, they are testing you, right? They'll come and take something and then look at your face to see what your response will be. That's how GPT is, right? It is trained on something. Like they go to school, they learn things. That's the training that GPT receives. It receives training on several subjects, several topics, several fields of studies, all the articles, all the books, everything, theories, all of those things. It is trained on all of that. And then um, it processes it, right? Tries to observe patterns in what it has studied, tries to observe the grammar, the logic, and the nuance from all of these examples. And then based on this, it can then predict what should come next. It can predict the next token in a sequence. And this is why you would ask ChatGPT some things and then it will give you human-like response. Okay, that is why you would see, you will get some prompts. You get two options sometimes from ChatGPT saying which response do you prefer, because it is trying to predict what you want next. Okay, so that is really what GPTs are trained on, a lot of information, and then they try to observe patterns based on that. We'll go into that deeper. This is how they are trained, right? There's the pre-training phase, and then there's the fine-tuning phase. Now, for the pre-training phase, I hope we are following. Permit me to geek out. This is just to help us understand how it works, right? So that we'll see that it's not anything out of this world, right? It's very simple. Now, for the pre-training phase, like I said, it is trained on a lot of data, billions and trillions of words from books, from articles, from websites. Now, once it is trained with this data, the next stage is self-supervised learning. Now, what happens here is that it is given partial data, and then it is now asked to predict, right? Or it is trained to repeat what the rest of the data would be. So it's not given the full thing, it's just given part of it, like giving it a subject in economics and then asking it to, training it to just predict what should come next, what context is based on, and all of that. And I'll give you an example: Swift key. Now, some of us use Swift key on our phones, right? We use that as our keypad, and you will notice that after some time, Swift key gets used to the way that you write. So you will type something, and that's where autocorrect comes in. You will type something, and then it's able to predict what you're going to type next, and you can just see the word and select the word, tap on the word, right? That is AI in action. Really, it has been trained on the way you write, the way you chat, and then because it's already used to it, when you're typing something similar to what you've typed before, it is then able to predict what should come next. That's self-supervised learning. Now there's transformer architecture as well. Now what this does, it allows it to encode and decode inputs, right? So it would, like, you give it an input. It's just like a quantitative reasoning, right? Quantitative reasoning, that's how it works. So you give it an input, and then it would predict possible outcomes and then select the most accurate one. So that's transformer architecture. So it would encode what you give it and then decode what the answer should be based on a comparison of options, right? So that's why sometimes when you're chatting with ChatGPT and it gives you a response, if you counter that response and ask it to go deeper, it will then be able to give you um better suited responses that are better suited to what exactly you're looking for. So this is how it is trained. This is the pre-training phase, right? So um organizations like OpenAI and the likes, this is what they do at the pre-training phase. Now once this is done, the next phase is fine-tuning. Now they have given it a lot of data. It's like you've taught your students a lot of things, and then next thing you want to do is you want to test their knowledge, right? So how well have they absorbed or learned what you have taught them? That's this fine-tuning phase. So once after the pre-training, the model is given specific tasks. And that's why you'd see that when a new model of ChatGPT is released, they would also tell you what it is good at, right? Maybe it is very good with legal questions. It solves maths maybe 99% better than humans or things like that, because they have tested it. They have given it these tasks. So tasks like summarizing text, translating to other languages, all of that. So you'll be given these tests to see how well it is able to decode based on the information it has been trained with. Then the next thing is supervised learning. So I said this is the answers at the back of the workbook style, right? So it's just like you have a workbook, and then you would answer it and then check the back for the answers to see if you are correct. That's what this is, right? So the LLM, the GPT, is given an input and then the output. So Sometimes we would have checked the answer before we conclude that, okay, I was right, I was wrong. And what is happening at that point is we're looking at the answer and looking at the question and trying to figure out, okay, what's in between? How did we arrive at this answer? Right. And that's what supervised learning is, right? So you're giving it an input and then you're giving it the answer and then requiring it to figure out, okay, why is this correct? Why is this the right answer? So that it would be able to detect patterns and relationships. Okay, so this is why when you're training a GPT, when you're building your own custom GPT, it's always recommended that you have what's it called, that you have the examples of good outputs, right? Examples of good outputs, it should be part of your instructions to your GPT, so it is able to figure out what underlying patterns and relationships to then predict, okay, the next time I'm given this data, this is what I should do. Then the next one is reinforcement. It's just like when you have a student in class, you give the student a test, they get it right and you're like, oh yes, this is correct, or no, this is wrong. That's what reinforcement learning is, right? So you are providing feedback. The human evaluators are providing feedback on the outputs of the large language model of the GPT. Okay, so this is then used to train the model to generate more outputs, more desirable responses. If you remember the example I gave of, I don't know how many of you have experienced this, where you would ask ChatGPT a question and then it will give you two options and say you should pick the one that you prefer. That is reinforcement learning in action. So whichever one you select will then determine the kind of responses that ChatGPT will give to you going forward, right? So that is reinforcement learning. So when you are asked to pick answers A or B and then you pick B, it means that when ChatGPT is answering your questions next time, it will follow the model of B to answer your questions. That is how GPTs are trained. I hope I've not lost us. Are we together? If we are together, please just type a yes in the comments. If we are together, just type yes. Okay, that's great. That's great. Yes. So this fine-tuning methods is what we then use to build custom GPTs and AI agents, right? So you can build a custom GPT with ChatGPT, and let me give us for those of us who don't know this, if you are in Nigeria and you have an iPhone, right, you don't have to pay the $20 fee for ChatGPT. If you're getting ChatGPT Plus, you don't have to pay $20. All you have to pay is 9,900 naira. And to get that deal, you just have to buy it through your Apple Store, right? You have to download the app on your phone and then use the app to renew your subscription. So it's just 9,900 to get the paid version, ChatGPT Plus, every month. And with that, you can build custom GPTs. Okay, now what are custom GPTs? So I'll give you an example of one I have built for those in my, sorry, excuse me, for those in my coaching programs, right? So it's a CV refining or CV review GPT. Now, they're as part of the program, right? I usually review their CVs and I have certain things I look out for. I have parameters I look out for. So I built a custom GPT that would help me do this faster, right? In no time. So the custom GPT is trained with my methods. What do I look out for? And then I have sample good outputs, sample good CVs that are uploaded as knowledge files in that GPT. So the GPT is seeing example of good outputs. It has its instructions. And then based on the instructions and the examples it has, if anybody wants to review their CV, they don't have to send it to me directly. They can just go to the portal, upload their CV. It would, review and give them feedback, and they're able to implement that feedback immediately. Or it would even, sometimes they can even ask it to rewrite the CV for them and it will do that. Okay, so that's something I've taken off my plate, and that is something I have built based on my own knowledge, based on my knowledge files, right? So what I have done in essence is I have tested it, I have built it and tested it, right? I have provided it good outputs with good outputs, right? And then reinforced based on the responses that it gave me. So in building it, I would test it. If I'm not fine with the answers, I'll go back and tweak the instructions until I get the kind of answers that I want. So that is really what it is, right? It's very simple to build custom GPTs and agents once you can understand how GPTs are trained. It's that simple. Yeah, so key takeaways from this first part of me geeking out over it is AI, like humans, can reason, can learn, can judge, can solve problems and make decisions. It absorbs patterns, grammar, logic, and nuance from examples. It is trained on vast amounts of data, right? And you can reduce bias by retraining it with bias-free data. Now, you would notice that when you ask ChatGPT questions, it sounds a lot like, sorry to say this, not being racist, but it sounds a lot like American men, right? American marketers, the male marketers, it sounds a lot like them because it is mostly trained on, their data. They have a lot of data. We don't have as much in this part of the world, but they have a lot of it. So it is inherently biased towards them, right? They are trying to be inclusive, adding more contextual data and all of that, but largely it will sound like them. It will not sound like you until you have, given it feedback, you have maybe uploaded sample of your articles or your posts on LinkedIn and all of that. So it will then absorb. Now, once you have continued with ChatGPT for a while, you will notice that it is beginning to sound like you a little more. Like you don't have to change as much of the response that it gives you after some time. That is, it's absorbing your grammar, absorbing patterns it has recognized in the way you communicate with it. Okay, it is trained on vast amounts of data. We understand that, and then you can fine tune AI to perform specific tasks for you. Now, there's one example, one use case that I heard about that really blew my mind, and it's a manager that just helps her team perform better with custom GPTs, right? So what she does is she, um, whenever they submit something to her, she corrects it, and then rather than just sending them the corrected version, she then puts it in ChatGPT, puts the version they sent and the version that she corrected, and asks, ChatGPT to identify, what she's looking for in what a good what's it called, good presentation or good slides would look like, right? What it would be, right? And she did that with a number of slides that she corrected. And so with the feedback that she got, with the analysis she got from ChatGPT, she then created a custom GPT for slides. And so she shared that with her team so that whenever they want to prepare slides for her, when they prepare it, they'll put it in the GPT. So it gives them feedback. And then based on the feedback, they then adjust before sending to her. Now that reduces her work, and then it helps them to perform better. So imagine that you report to the board, for example, you've gotten feedback once, twice, about whatever it is that you've presented. You can ensure that you are showing up better next time by putting the feedback you've received in ChatGPT, asking it to analyze it, and then building a custom GPT that is specific to that task and will help you do that task excellently, right? So this is the power of ChatGPT. This is the power of AI. Now, let me ask you, what don't you like about generative AI like ChatGPT? What don't you like about it? What don't you like about it? Please just let us know in the chat. What don't you like about ChatGPT? Because I know some people have a love-hate relationship. And I'm not talking about just ChatGPT. So there's Claude, there's Perplexity, all of that. What don't you like about it? Okay, waiting to see your responses. What don't you like about it? What would, if you were able to change something about it, what would you change? Okay, the robotic response. Okay. Yes, it is making people lazy. Okay, so this one, let me just talk a little about it. I think I'll speak later about it, but let me just say something briefly about it. So the thing is, ChatGPT is like an intern. You need to see it like an intern. Now, remember those days when at work we'll be like, I have so much to do. I wish I had a PA. Well, here is your PA. This is AI is your PA, right? And if you have an intern, how would you supervise the intern's work? What you would do is you most likely give the intern a lot of context. This is how you should do this. This is an example of what we did last year. Model it after this, right? You are giving it a lot of context. You are giving the intern a lot of context so that the intern will be able to do their work better. Now, when the intern does the work and submits it to you, you don't just push it out, right? You first review it and ensure that it meets, your requirements, it meets your taste and your expectations. Now, when you review it, it's after you review it that you will then send it out or use it for whatever you want to use it to do. It's the same thing with ChatGPT. It's the same thing with AI. Okay, you're not supposed to just use the first response that AI gives to you, right? Now, once you have given it enough context, this is an example of how it was done. This is an example of, a good output. This is what I need you to do. This is exactly the context. Once it gives you a response, don't just copy that response and paste anywhere. No, you have a responsibility to be the manager of that chat GPT and review. I think that is the thing that people don't get. That's one thing that, makes people feel like ChatGPT makes other people lazy because they don't review. They just take it and use it like that. But we should be reviewing. Okay. And then about robotic response, I hope what we have said so far helps you understand why it gives you robotic response, and you understand how you can get better outputs from it. Okay, so many people fear GPTs because they feel like it will sound generic. I'll lose my voice, my post will not sound like me again, it will make me lazy, it is too technical, or it is too unpredictable. But the truth is, it actually amplifies your authenticity. If you know what you are doing, if you have samples of the work that you have done, you can train ChatGPT with that sample, and then it will just reproduce, like the Bible says, after its own kind. Okay, it will reproduce after the kind of input that you have put in it. So it will amplify your authenticity if you train it right. Now, because it is trained by you, okay, it can sound exactly like you. It is your PA. And that's why it's good to have custom GPTs, right? Because I'm sorry, yes, custom GPTs or projects in the plus plan of ChatGPT, or I think in Claude it's also called projects. Okay, because it will retain the training that you have trained it with, and that will make it sound exactly like you. It will also help you show up more and become consistent. Now, with a custom GPT, imagine that I have a custom GPT for my LinkedIn posts. I've already trained it on how I want to sound. I've trained it on examples of my posts. There'll be days that I don't have the inspiration to write. I can just go to it and then, give it a topic and have it write something for me, and I'll just review and, put something out. It helps me become consistent. And then it saves you time as well. Okay, it saves you time. Um, Now, the greatest flex about AI is that it democratizes access to solutions. Like, this is the thing that blows my mind about it. It gives everybody access to solutions. If you are working in a small firm, and the issue is that you don't have what's it called? You don't have HRIS, you don't have, things are still done manually. With AI, you can actually create something. You can build, right? You can build something for free. I'm doing something with my community in the next, few months. We are building tools. We are building HR tools. I've built an ATS from scratch. I've built a performance dashboard for a sales team. I did that just last week in a morning, right? So it democratizes access to solutions. You don't have to suffer through things. You don't have to complain that things are done manually. You can actually build, solutions that work for you, that work for your team, and that works for others as well. Okay, that's the greatest flex about AI. Right. So now, what is AI fluency? We've talked a lot about GPTs and AI. What is AI fluency? What does it mean to us? Now, for HR professionals, it is the ability to evaluate, apply, and govern AI systems for people, for process, for performance, and for business value. Now, AI is not just for you, right? At this stage, right, with the way it is moving and evolving rapidly, AI is for the business, right? It is a performance enhancer, right? It is a process simplifier. It supports people. It's like it cuts across all of this, right? So we should be able to understand what AI can do. We should know where and how to apply it, and we should be confident enough to lead conversations and change around AI. So it's not just about the technical skills. It's not just about being able to build the tools, but it's actually about making better decisions and executing solutions faster. It's about these things. Um, So why HR? Why is HR important in this conversation? It's because we are at the intersection of people policy and performance. We are at that intersection. So we don't just manage processes, we don't just manage people. We actually design the full workplace experience. We are in between the people and the business and the process that, helps both deliver. Right. We prepare businesses and employees for the future of work, and we support and power accelerated performance. So being fluent in AI gives us the power to actually do what we need to be doing. It gives us the power to influence, to innovate, right? And to just help employees. There are a lot of employees who are confused right now. Like there's a lot of noise about, oh, AI will take your job, things like that. And I'll be honest, right? There are some roles that I have not hired in my business because I can automate those things with AI. And I know quite a number of business owners, especially small business owners that are doing the same. So yes, it might affect some roles, but what will make it affect those roles is if the people are not empowered to use AI, right? So, for example, if you're a graphics designer and everybody's complaining about, oh, AI can I don't need to pay a graphic designer because I can build something by myself, I can develop something by myself thanks to AI. You can think of, okay, how can I, you know, prefer solution with AI? How can I empower my processes with AI? You can With AI, you can work faster. So you can create what's it uh templates, right? You can create bulk templates and sell. You can work for multiple clients as a graphics designer. You can work for multiple clients and deliver effectively. You can build systems for people, and there's also still that human experience that AI cannot fully mirror, cannot fully capture. There's still that context. And so there are some things you understand about design that maybe someone who doesn't know how to prompt AI well will not know. And so there's still that edge that you have, but you have to power your work with AI. Okay, so there is that. So we HR professionals are the ones who would help people actually upskill. We need to be thinking about our people, right? So what is next for them with the phase or with the rapid development of AI? What happens to their careers, right? What happens to their development? And then for the business, how can we help the business perform better? Especially because there's a lot of talk around cost cutting. How can we help the business perform better? Now, there are several levels of AI fluency. There is the unintentional fluency. So here you're just doing things, right? You don't necessarily know if you are getting the best output, but you're just using it for simple things like maybe drafting job descriptions, writing letters, drafting emails, and all of that. Then there's the beginner level. Now this is you are good with prompt engineering. You know the elements of a good prompt. You know you should have the role, the task, the context, the examples, all of those things. Then there's the literates. Now you can build automations and you can build custom GPTs with AI. And then there's the fluent. So here you can build custom GPTs, you can build AI agents, no code tools, custom no code tools. And if time permits, I'll probably show you a few tools that I have built as well, right? So these are the levels of AI fluency. So you need to look at it and just assess yourself and say, okay, where am I? What can I do with AI? Where do I need to get to? What do I need to learn? And the beautiful thing about AI is that you can create your own personal development plan with AI. You can ask ChatGPT to teach you how to build a custom GPT. You can actually ask it to develop a full personal development plan for you. Okay, so that's the beautiful thing about it. Now, why does AI fluency matter? Why does it matter for HR today? I've said a little bit about it. We are at that intersection of people, processes, and business, right? There are so many executives that are pushing for AI fluency. I know of Zapier. Zapier would not employ anyone that is not AI fluent. It is part of their recruitment process now. And there are a few other small business owners. Like for me now, if I want to employ someone in my business, you have to at least be AI literate, right? You have to have some literacy in AI. You have to be able to do some things with AI. I don't want to have to start teaching everything from scratch because I know that my business is powered a lot by AI, right? So HR has to lead in this case because execs are requesting this. If you see these reports at the bottom, iSolved reports, 81% of business owners actually see AI as a business opportunity. They can see the opportunities that are open to them. And so as HR professionals, we should be able to see that too. Like, we should be able to see that too, because we are supporting the strategy of the business. And cost pressures are driving tough workforce decisions. We've heard of several layoffs, and that's because AI has enabled, some processes are already AI enabled. So a lot of tough workforce decisions are being made, and you have to guide employees through that process. You have to equip them. Yes, and then employees are apprehensive, so we need to address their fears and empower them. We need to address their fears. And then there's AI usage actually needs governance, or else it will amplify bias, it will obscure accountability, and data will be mishandled. Now the truth is, everybody in your organization is probably using AI right now, right? They are using AI right now. So if you do nothing about it, there is the possibility that bias will be amplified. There's a possibility that accountability, people would just give all accountability, hand over accountability to AI, and not take responsibility for what they should. And there's a possibility that data will be mishandled. We've heard of a lot of cases where, proprietary data has been leaked to ChatGPT, and then because of that, other people have access to it. But there is a way to solve that problem. Now, for those who are users of ChatGPT, all you need to do is go to your settings, and then you would see, if I have the time, I would do a demo, a walkthrough. You would see a part where you are supposed to, in the settings, I think there's a place where you can select that OpenAI should use your data to train future models of the GPT. You can untick that so that they're not using your data to train GPT, right? This is just a simple thing that you can advise employees to do, especially if they are going to be using it for their work, because they actually most likely are. They are most likely using it for their work. So you have to be able to govern it. We have a significant role to play. You have to provide some guidelines around how it will be used responsibly in your workplace. Because whether you provide those guidelines or not, it will be used. It is being used. Okay, but we have to ensure that it is being used right. Um, yeah, so what is possible with AI in HR? Efficiency, innovation, and experience, in simple terms. These are the three things that are possible. So, in terms of efficiency, I know someone that is building a recruitment tool that screens resumes and ranks them based on um, fit for the role, right? And this is something that I have designed as well, right? So you can auto screen out and rank resumes. You can conduct competency assessments across the company with the data that you have. You can automate policy responses. You can build an HR help desk with a custom GPT, right? So there are some tools that are used to house GPTs in such a way that is not directly on your chat GPT account. An example of those tools is Pickaxe. So what you do with Pickaxe is all the same instructions that you have put in your custom GPT, you put it in Pickaxe, but Pickaxe has access control. You have to log in, right? And then you have a number of tokens to use. So with that, you can regulate what happens with AI in your company. You can deploy that across the company so that people are, centralizing all of the company information in one place, and they're not using it in their own GPT accounts. Yes, so, and with that, you can actually put all of your policies, handbook, everything in one custom GPT that is housed on Pickaxe, and then Pickaxe allows you to embed it. So you can embed it on a website or on a portal. It has its own website self. All you need to do is give people the link. If they have any questions about leave, they go there, ask the question. The GPT would answer based on the information that it has been given, which is your policy. Have questions about salaries, it will go there, they will go there, and then they will get the answers. And if they can't then get the answers that they need, they will then reach out to you. So that just cuts off your admin work significantly. People don't have to keep calling you every minute because they have questions about incentives and salaries and things like that, because they are able to get the answers that they need at the tip of their fingers. And that also boosts, it improves the experience, the employee experience, right? They don't feel like, oh, they have to reach out to HR all the time for things that they need. They can get solutions and responses at the tip of their finger. All they need to do is log in and they'll get the answers that they need. Also for innovation, right? From feedback, from data that you have together, right? You are able to conduct predictive analytics to find out, okay, what should we do next for the business? What should we do next for the people, right? You can survey and, have an idea of the sentiment of the people. And, you can build smart dashboards. So it's good for innovation. And then for experience, you can provide personalized onboarding, right? You don't have to walk them through all the trainings, all the induction trainings that you have. Just they would be able to, you can put everything on a portal, on a learning portal, and then based on what team they are working in or what role, the chatbot can then recommend, oh, go through these first. These are the teams that you'll be working mostly with, right? These are the contact people you need to reach out to and things like that, right? It will show them what they need to learn first. If they are senior managers, for example, it might be that it will show them the corporate governance handbook first to just study and everything. So it is able to personalize the onboarding for your new hires. I also mentioned building development plans and career growth tracks. And then for your LMS, for your trainings, they can have co-pilots for learning. So if they don't have the time to go through or consume the full content, right, they can just ask questions to the co-pilots when they need, or even if they've done the training already, right, they can go back to the co-pilot to ask, okay, if they can't remember something, they can just ask and they'll get the answers at the tip of their fingers. So these are a few things that are possible with AI in HR. So I've included some sample use cases. This interview sync is a tool that I have built, and it's just something that syncs multiple calendars. So you know where you're trying to set up an interview, and then you have to reach out to all the panelists one by one to say, oh, is this time convenient for you? Is that time convenient for you? And then you have to reach out to the candidate too and say, oh, these are the available times. Pick what is convenient. So you won't need to do all of that. All you need to do is just use the tool, deploy the tool. It would have automatically synced the calendars of the panelists. And then based on that, you'll be able to see available times and then share it with the candidates and they can pick what time works for them. So no rescheduling all the time and all of that. Then you can build custom GPTs. So these are two examples of custom GPTs I have built. This one is a goal cascading expert. So if you have trouble cascading goals, right, for the company from senior management to employees, you can just build a GPT that has a framework for cascading the goals in your company. And then once the corporate goals are set, just deploy this, have everybody in the team use this to then generate what their goals for the quarter would be. Very simple. Your performance management time or stress is cut in more than half, right? There's this performance conversations coach as well for people who, for leaders who don't know how to hold performance conversations. They can use this to coach themselves before they then have conversations with people. I've talked about the HR help desk and ATS. So these are just a few sample use cases. And then, so this one is an example of a use case. Now, I belong to a community of HR professionals experimenting and learning and building with AI. And one of the things I had to do in that community was to curate a list of tools that AI HR professionals can use, AI tools. And the founder of that community, what she did was she built a custom GPT that would provide this description exactly the way it is, right? And then she gave the GPT to me. So all I needed to do was put the link to the website like this. This was my input here, the link to the website of the tool, and then it gives me this description. All I need to do is just copy it, paste it in the portal, and that's all. Rather than me, researching and putting all the data together and ensuring it follows the same format, this just does it for me, cuts my time in more than half, right? The time I would have needed to do this. So it just boosts your efficiency. These are some of the tools you can use. Cursor is used for building tools, like you build a full tool. You can use Cursor, you can use Lovable to build tool, you can use Glide and Bolt to build tools. Airtable as well. This is my favorite tool. It's very versatile. If you are good with Excel, you would love Airtable. Fathom as well. You can use it to record. You can use it for meeting notes. We know the OGs, ChatGPT, Claude, and Perplexity. Pickaxe is the tool I told you about that would house your custom GPT. MindPal works the same way. MindPal would even help you build an AI agent. Okay, so these are some of the tools that you can use. Yeah, so now what is our role as HR professionals in responsible AI integration? Before I continue, I just want to be sure we are still together. Are we still together? Just a yes in the chat box. Are we still together? Okay, I hope you are not confused. Hope you can understand. We're still together. All right. All right, great to know. So what is our role in responsible AI integration? Okay, so now as AI becomes embedded in our workflows, we become a critical gatekeeper for the ethical use of AI. Okay, so what data should not be used um, in AI? People's confidential data, right? Confidential data of clients, um, using tools that have bias. I don't know if we heard the story of a man who kept applying to a place and then it kept getting rejected because of the tool. No, I think he applied to different places, but his CV kept getting rejected because of the tool that was being used. That tool was biased. And so I think he sued them. I'm not sure. I can't recollect the full story right now. But yes, we have to be careful and we have to provide guidelines for this. Then transparency with employees, right? So we need to, one way to use AI ethically is that um, whenever you're using it, you need to put a disclaimer. So if you're using it for recruitment, for example, you can put a disclaimer that it is being used for this stage of the recruitment process, but the other stages are handled by humans. It's important to be transparent with it. Then minimizing bias. So if you know that a tool is biased, then you have to put in measures and controls to ensure that you minimize bias. And then another thing you need to do is once you deploy a tool, please monitor, ensure that there's proper monitoring and feedback so that you are able to detect if there is bias, right? Build ingrained in that tool. You need to monitor. Then there's also data protection. I think I spoke about this as well. Um, you have to be careful with proprietary data and people's personally identifiable information. And then change management. So we are the ones that would lead the company through change. If our company wants to integrate AI into workflows, then we would lead that change. We'll manage that change, and we have to manage it effectively so that people don't resist it, right? So that it doesn't flop as well in the organization. So we have to manage it effectively. So we must lead with a people first, tech enabled mindset. So it's not tech first, it's not tech first, but it's people first, solutions first, okay, enabled by technology, right? That's the mindset that we should lead with. Now, these are the building blocks of AI fluency. First, you need to understand what is possible. Okay, what exists, what is realistic, and how does it fit? Then you need to identify your use cases. Okay, so think about your processes. What is one repetitive process that you have? Or what is one bottleneck that you have? What is low value but time consuming? And what decisions are slowed down by lack of data? So identify, that is what will help you identify where you can immediately apply AI. Then there's the responsible integration. So you can't do it alone. You need to bring in IT, you need to bring in legal, you need to bring in your leadership early, right? Build it together, build guidelines for transparency, build checks, set up measures for checking for bias and design how you're going to communicate to employees as well. Okay, so you need to do all of this in order to integrate it effectively. And then you should be deliberate about building AI literacy across the workforce. Okay, you need to cultivate a workforce that is capable with AI. This is what will help them be more effective in their roles, would help them amplify their results significantly. And this would include role specific training, so design trainings based on their roles. I just mentioned an example of graphics designer, so you should be able to think about, and you can have conversations with them, right? Think about their different roles and how does AI affect their role? What kind of tasks can they outsource to AI? What tasks would they maintain, right? So let there be ongoing upskilling programs for your team. Then there is alignment with IT, not just IT, but legal as well. And if you have an internal control team, have that alignment early. Let there be that collaboration. AI integration is not an IT work. It's actually a collaboration, a collaborative effort. And then safe experimentation. You need to create an environment where employees can safely experiment. And this is why I gave the example of that pickaxe. That is one tool that you can safely experiment with. And then based on the response, based on the feedback, based on the results that you monitor, you can then scale it. But you need to start with safe experimentation so that you can build confidence, right, in usage of the AI tools. Now, this is an example of a governance framework. I'll share the link to it, but this is the link here. You can just copy it out and, type it in your browser, and it will take you to this. It's an open policy, right? They have it available online. So this is their governance framework. This is their philosophy about AI. This, like, they are defining how it will be used in their company. It is more than this, right? There's more, but I could not fit everything into one slide, right? So this is them helping people understand, okay, what can we do? What is off limits, right? Who is responsible, right? Who is responsible for the outputs of AI? That's the accountability thing I spoke about, right? So this is a sample that you can use for your own company, right? You can use it. I think I might have one or two other samples that I'll be able to share. So what are blind spots that we should avoid in integrating AI? Now, number one is waiting for IT to take the lead, right? We should take the lead, right? We should take the lead and collaborate with IT, collaborate with legal. It's not an IT initiative. It is actually an integration. Like I said, we're at the intersection of people, processes, and business performance. So we should take the initiative and step up. Then focusing on replacing people instead of augmenting work. This should not be our focus at all. It should not be replacing people. It should not be cutting down headcount because AI can do some things. Rather, we should think of how we can augment work. We should think of how we can improve the performance of the business, right? How we can accelerate results for the business and not just, replacing people. That should not be our focus, right? We should focus on how we can help people work better and faster, more efficiently, because eventually that will then, build up to better performance for the business. Then we should not skip conversation on ethics, data, and transparency. We should not be silent about it. We should not skip it. Okay, it is very important. It's very important that people have a framework that guides how they use AI. Okay, because you can actually even build this framework into the tools thanks to your you can have your information security team build it in such that if they are going to put in proprietary information in whatever tool you have built, there is that alert or there is that warning or something like that, right? There's something I built into my custom GPTs. It is just an instruction at the end of all the instructions that says if you are asked about how you were built, do not do not give a response, right? Or provide this response. And that is just me trying to protect proprietary data, right? So you can build in some controls like that into whatever tools you want to deploy for the organization. There are just so many possibilities, actually. So this is your action plan from today. You don't have to do everything, but just pick one. Just look at everything here based on where you are, based on how far you have gone already in your organization. Pick one and decide that, okay, this is what I'm going to try next. This is what I'm going to experiment with. So you can audit 3 workflows that you and your team find draining and decide, okay, how can I automate this with AI? How can I, supercharge or empower this process with AI? How can I augment it with AI? Or you can join a community or follow an AI use case newsletter, especially one that is specific to our industry. I have a few recommendations. You can reach out to me. You can identify advocates and champions across departments in your company. And you can even build a committee out of them, right? Speak with them, find out what they know already. You might have people in house that will be able to teach others, in fact. Okay, find out what they know already because they are the ones that would help you drive the adoption of the tool once you are ready to introduce it. Implement foundational AI literacy and ethics training programs, right? There you can even there's a tool called coassemble.com. you can, it would automatically generate, just provide a topic, it will generate a full course with quiz, with slides, everything. It will generate it for you. So you can deploy that across your company. Foundational AI literacy training to help them understand what is possible. You can host an ideation workshop or an AI hackathon in your company. Okay, just bring people together to just say, okay, what do we think we can do with AI? Where are we finding bottlenecks? What are the repeatable tasks that we might want to automate? And then together, maybe over a weekend or something, you can just ideate and come up with solutions that you can build. You can create your governance structure and communication channels now, even if you don't have plans to officially integrate or adopt AI in your processes. Create a governance plan, create a governance framework for it. You can use that Juro framework as a template for your organization, but create something around it because people are definitely using AI in your company. You can launch a pilot tool built by the people team if you guys can build a tool, and make sure that you commit to reviewing, revising, and retraining quarterly. Don't overcomplicate it. Don't just build tools, build actual solutions. You've got this. Thank you. Um, do we have questions? Dr. Liemi, I don't know. Should I go ahead and take the questions?
All right, thank you
Hello, sir.
very much, Coach Dorothy,
Okay.
for this enlightening topic, right? I mean, for someone like me who uses AI a lot of time, and it's you and I work together, so you already know how much I would use this. Thank you very much for sharing this knowledge. We have a few questions. Please, if you have questions, please drop in the queue. Let me scroll to the top. There was a Michael Fakayode that had two questions. First question, he said, when we write articles or features, we have the obligation to make reference to used materials. Does this also apply to works of GPT or AI?
Okay. Yes. Yes, actually. Especially depending on where you are using it. Okay, what you are using it for. It's usually good to give a disclaimer, right? Now, if it's something that has been trained on your proprietary, like a custom GPT that has been trained on your data, and you have fine-tuned it, it sounds like you, speaks like you, all of that, and it is not being used in or for something that requires proprietary knowledge. So maybe like you're submitting an article, for example, or you are completing an assessment or things like that. You may not need to. If it's maybe just for your Instagram posts and things like that, you may not need to. But if it is something um that requires a verification of your um contribution, right, then you will need to leave a disclaimer. You will need to leave a disclaimer in that case. I hope that answers your question, Michael.
All right. Yeah, thank you. I mean, just to add to that, it's almost like when you're writing your project and you have to make reference to, some of the
Yeah.
research. It would be good to just
Yes.
back up that, oh, this was also gotten from XYZ author
Mm-hmm.
or XYZ
Yeah.
person. All right, thank you.
Yeah.
The next question is, does the HR need to develop policies on GPT and AI? I think you already mentioned that in the
Totally.
slide, but I think you
Yeah.
can just highlight that too.
Yes, yes. So, like I already mentioned, yes, we should develop the policy. Now, you can have your legal team review the policy. You can have the IT team review it, right? You can have like your stakeholders review it. But yes, you need to be proactive about developing the policy for the use of AI in your company.
Uh, Thank you. Just to add to that, also, you may also want to look at, GDPR and NDPR laws. Some of
Yeah.
them also speak to use of AI. So, I mean, when you are putting together your AI policies, also reference GDPR and GDPR is global, NDPR is Nigeria, or any other data protection laws that apply to the use of data, the use of AI. All right. Another question is, are there other AI tools for onboarding apart from co-assemble?
Oh yes, there are a lot of tools. There are a lot of tools. Co-assemble is just one LMS. You can build an LMS for yourself with software and Airtable. You can use Glide as well. Um, there are quite a number of tools actually. There are so many. You can use ChatGPT to develop the content and then use some other free tools like system.io and Glide or software to then build the LMS itself that will deliver the learning. But yes, the very easy one that comes to mind is Co-assemble. It's very easy to use.
All right,
You
thank
can
you.
even use something like
Just
Gamma to develop slides and then
Gamma,
deploy it
yes.
as a training.
Yeah,
You can use Canva as well. You can use Canva as well.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I mean, for those who have participated in most of my sessions, all my slides are done by Gamma. Is when I really want to do more work, because with Gamma, you might have limitation of the number of slides you use. Is when I actually
Yeah.
want to expand, then I now use personally just do the PowerPoint, but I use a bit of help from Gamma to get, oh, how should I design my slide that's going to be appealing to those who are
Mm-hmm.
listening to me. So I get maybe
Yeah.
slide ideas and pictograph ideas, but every other thing within the slide itself is knowledge from my research or from my experiences.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Next question from Priye says, which AI tools is best for research work? So, I'm with that. I'm sure if we, go on Google or any other AI search engine, we should be able to get a comprehensive list of, AI tools, for
Yeah.
research. Your
Yeah. But
for
I would also, let me
organization.
just add
Yeah,
something. Yeah,
yeah.
so I would recommend Perplexity, right, for research because Perplexity gives you the sources. So you can use
Okay.
Perplexity when it comes to research. It is very good with research. ChatGPT is
Yeah.
good as well, so any of
Yeah.
those tools works.
I mean, also, if your organization is subscribed to a G Suite, for instance, or
Mm-hmm.
Microsoft, the GPTs that are embedded into most of these tools also help with research, right?
Yeah.
You have your co-pilots, you have
Copilot,
so many
Gemini.
of these things that yeah,
Yes.
Gemini for Google, Copilot for Microsoft.
Mm-hmm.
Yahoo is currently working on theirs. I can't remember what it's called, but I've seen it a few times pop up, right? So if your organization has the full workstation for this some of these apps, you can always utilize it. Moyo says, you said we can reach out to you. Yes, so yes, you can reach out to Toroti via LinkedIn.
Yeah, you
Toroti,
can
please, you
connect
can
with me.
drop your link. You can also drop your LinkedIn profile in the chat box so that
Yeah.
people who want to reach out to you, for coaching and other mentorship programs. For those of you who are just joining, Toroti is a career coach. So you might also want to reach out to her on LinkedIn. So please drop your LinkedIn in the chat box, so people can reach out to you. Okay, so these are all the questions I have in the chat box. If you have any questions or if you have any contributions you'd like to add, opportunity to I would.
Sorry, is it my network? I can't hear generally anymore. Okay. All right. So I've shared my LinkedIn profile link in the chat. You can connect with me on LinkedIn. You can send me an email. You can send me a message on Instagram as well. Yeah.
All right, thank you, Dorothy. All right, do we
Okay.
have people with questions? Anyone with questions? Anyone in the chat box still want to say something? Or yes, Uncle K has a question. Uncle K, please go ahead.
Okay, thank you so much, Dorothy. In the voice of Dr. Adelson, this is masterpiece, masterclass, simply
Thank
fantastic.
you. Thank you.
So I like every bit of your presentation, from your choice of words to your, everything. It was just like before we finish assimilating one, you are loading with another and another. It's just beautiful, it's fantastic. I love it. Okay, so
Thank you. Thank you very much.
often get caught in the web of which to use between DeepSeek and ChatGPT in at work, making my work easy.
Mm.
So I don't know, is it that they are both designed for two different uses, or I am the one just mixing it up? Is it that one is specialized for one function and the other is, because sometimes I find it that GPT gives me more information than DeepSeek.
Mm.
So I don't know
Yeah.
if I'm not using DeepSeek appropriately. That's my question. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you for that question. So the thing is, it is a GPT, right? Both of them are GPTs. They are trained the same way all the GPTs are trained. But then, so in terms of practice, it might be different. In terms of testing, right? In terms of, what they are very good at, it might be different. So for ChatGPT, for example, ChatGPT has different models. There is the 3.0, there is the O4 mini, there's the ChatGPT 4.0, all of that, right? And these different models have their strengths. It's the same way DeepSeek also has its strengths, right? So, for example, if it comes to reasoning, advanced reasoning, it's better to use ChatGPT 303. If it comes to fast responses, then 4. GPT-4 works well. So it's the same thing, right? It's the same GPT. Some are trained, yes, like Dr. Adeoshan said, DeepSeek is trained by and built by Chinese people, right? And I think some people have concerns about privacy when it comes to using DeepSeek, but it's the same work that they do. It's the same thing with ChatGPT, Claude, Perplexity, Gemini, right? So sometimes you can give all of them the same prompts, and then the responses will be slightly different, and it's just because of what they've been trained with, their data, and how best they are optimized to perform, what tasks they are optimized to perform. So that's just the difference. It's all GPTs. Hope that answers your question.
Fantastic. Thank you. Thank you. Masterpiece, masterclass.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right, any other person? Also, one hack I usually do, right? If I feed in a prompt into one GPT and I don't get what exactly I'm looking at, copy the answer from, the GPT into another GPT, and maybe tell it to enhance that previous prompt. What it will do,
Yeah.
it broadens the scope. It broadens the scope of what you're looking for, right? And in more cases than not, it gives you multiple answers that you can equally just choose from, like Dorothy mentioned in one of her slides, that this is basically machine learning. That's what it's called, machine learning, right? It just
Yeah.
goes to source information and gives you,
And
a
generally,
plethora.
if you need to
Yeah,
troubleshoot anything, yeah,
yeah,
okay. Yeah,
yeah. So it gives
generally,
you
if you need to troubleshoot anything, you are trying to work with a tool, you are stuck. You can just take a screenshot and put it in any of the tools and say, okay, I'm stuck. What can I do next? And it would walk you through what to do next. All right. So
yeah,
just to add that.
definitely. All right, thank you.
Thank you so much. I have one elderly colleague, very elderly, he used to call Chat GPT. Ibadan people will understand this one. He used to call it Chat GPT, like it's a cheat code. We don't have a choice. People use it now. Everybody use it. On a lighter note, when you give students assignment, they now use ChatGPT to do the assignment. You also now use ChatGPT to review the answer given by ChatGPT. But the good thing is, anybody who is using ChatGPT very frequently, the moment you see a ChatGPT sentence, you will know, or paragraph, you will know.
Yes.
And
Yes.
if you have now used it to a level, After you have used it, you will now use your own words so that it will look normal and normalized. So please,
Yes.
ladies and gentlemen, if you are sending me a message and you are starting with phrases like "I want to take a moment,"
Right.
I have got you blue-handed. Thank you so much, Dorothy.
Yes, and
This
just something you
excellent.
can do with that is upload something you've written by yourself first
Exactly.
before they now ask ChatGPT to model your response. You get better
Exactly.
results that way.
Exactly. Sometimes don't be completely laid back. Type something yourself, tell it to enhance it. You get better value
Yeah,
that way. Or
yeah,
give one example, and we just appreciate Dorothy and we leave. Don't just write a letter of appreciation for the women in my organization. It will give you something generic. When we tell ChatGPT, and this is just hypothetical, 5 of the women are married, 5 are single mothers, 5 schooled abroad, 5 schooled in the East, 5 this, and you provide a very robust context, and you now say, based on this, help me come up with something. You'll be shocked at what it will write. All right. So 10 people can use ChatGPT and get different outcomes. At the end, you have the floor, sir. And thank you for stepping in
All
brilliantly.
right. Yeah.
I thought it
So
was
I just
ChatGPT that started doing for me.
so I was just going to add that, I mean, just like the two previous speakers have said, when you don't always garbage in, garbage out, even when you get your desired response from ChatGPT, um, a serious-minded or a hardworking person would also tweak what has been garbaged out, right? Because like we said, it's easy to spot a lot of the machine learning type responses from ChatGPT or the other. And a lot of times when I tell my direct reports, oh, I need this, I need that, and they give me responses, I always laugh because I see where you've gotten it from, right? And I see a lot of that in people's emails. Even after copying, they don't edit. You now see at the bottom, so you now say, "Or do you want me to tweak this response to so and so?" So do that bit of hard work by reviewing what you've copied from ChatGPT into whatever place you are sending your responses to. So finally, before Dorothy rounds up, is there one word or one sign off you can give to people that, I mean, as much as we want to work smart, we should not just work smart with folly. So, what one line will you say or give to everyone here to say, you know what, while you're using ChatGPT, use it smart, use it, with wisdom.
Okay, so I was actually typing it before you asked that question. The one thing I would say is ChatGPT AI is your intern, right? Give it sufficient context and information to do the work you need it to do. And then when it does the work, review it. Okay, make sure that you review it. That's what I'll say. See it as your intern. When you give your intern work, you give it enough background, give it example. Then when the intern submits the work to you, you review because you are the master, right? You are the permits my use of that word master. You are the one who knows, you are the expert, you're the one who knows what output you want. And so ensure that you always review to suit exactly what you need it for. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. Dr. Adeosun, over to you.
Uncle K,
Baba,
you want to
I,
say something?
I was just wondering, that since the advent of this machine learning and artificial intelligence in the world of work, and it has come to stay, gradually it is mirroring and understanding, as she has said, like our intern, our ways of life and our ways of communicating. There was a time we saw movies in the 90s or 80s where so-called machine have like human intelligence, and they are rivaling or competing with humans in control of the earth, so to say. Will there ever be a time that artificial intelligence machine will probably be arguing with humans, or we want to take over the work or the roles of human will we ever get to that time? Because right now we are fast. It seems like we are fast approaching those science fiction movie we watch in those days. Oh, thank you.
Yes.
Uncle
So,
K, Uncle K, I think I answered your question already in the chat box as you were speaking.
yeah, no, but something to note is Sam Altman said something in a recent interview. You can go and watch his recent interview. He said something, and I think he indirectly expressed some concern about the new model that they are building. So it is AI is developing at such a very fast pace, and it's because there's a lot of investments being pumped into it. So we can only hope and pray it doesn't get to that point, but it is advancing. And that's why we don't need to fold our arms. We should not be folding our arms. We should be doing something right ahead of it. So yeah, that's what I will just add.
Thank you so much, Dorothy. Thank you.
Okay. All right. Ladies and gentlemen, um, yesterday evening on my drive home, I'm sure you know this program for those of us who drive or listen to Inspiration FM. It was this Fidelity SME Forum, and the topic, coincidentally, was on AI for SMEs. And I was just listening, and I can't remember the name of the AI progenitor, but he made one or two insightful comments. And I'm quoting him now, so it's not my original thought or anything. He said, if we cast our mind back, even though none of us was alive or around then, that when the cars were first manufactured, it will look like these tools, the horsepower they carry, they will kill our children, they will kill our brothers. You can accelerate from 0 to 100 in microseconds, especially if you think of the movement from using horses and walking to cars. And he said, today, all of us can still use our leg to walk. How many people here will go from Ibadan to Lagos and trek because of the potential adverse effect of motorcycle or vehicles and so on and so forth? So again, let's just take it that this is the extension of the fourth industrial revolution. Uncle K, you are speaking like, which is very valid, but you are almost saying that I hope this AI is not going to take us to Armageddon, like a self-destruct button. Recently, the two presidents were joking, or one president and one former president, Uncle Donald Trump, and I've forgotten his name, Megred or something, I don't know how to pronounce it, former president of Russia. There was an exchange, and they were talking about a nuclear weapon. Do you know how long some of these nuclear weapons have been around? 50 years or more. Hopefully, nobody has the courage or boldness to use it. But what I'm trying to say is that beyond AI, there already exist today things that can technically, they use that word existential existence, something that can take all us out. They already exist today, so we'll just continue to do our best. You can't get out of life alive. On this note, let us unmute. And not don't use AI, use your human voice. Let's appreciate Dorothy with our human voice, please.
Thank
Thank
you.
you, Dorothy.
Thank you, Dorothy.
Thank you, Miss
Thank
Dorothy.
you.
Thank you,
Thank
Coach
you so
Dorothy.
much.
Thank you, Dorothy.
Thank you.
You.
Thank you, Dorothy. Like I said, it's good to see you again.
Yes, so good to see you too. So good to hear from you. Thank you.
I
Thank you
want to
very
take a moment to thank you, Dorothy, in my chat GPT voice.
much. Okay.